Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the beautiful Bulldog Center here at LaPorte High School. We're glad you're here to help us celebrate and honor our inaugural class of distinguished alumni and citizen. My name is Adam Holland. I work in the communications department here at LaPorte ISD, and I'll be serving as your master of ceremonies today. Before we go any further, those performing artists who have serenaded us for the event are members of the LaPorte High School Orchestra under the direction of Dr. Jeff Carlton. Thank you. Our junior ROTC, under the advisement of Major Crystal Armstrong, will now present the colors. And then I'd like to invite a couple of LaPorte High School students to the podium, Student Council President Tabitha Dorman and Senior Class President Mason Paris, to lead us in the pledge and invocation.
Good afternoon. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now for the Texas Pledge. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Please remain standing for the invocation.
Ladies and gentlemen, please bow your heads with me. As we give thanks to the wonderful meal that has been prepared for us, let's continue to give thanks to this wonderful district that continues to support and honor our alumni, that has made not only our district proud, but the community as a whole. We cannot forget to give thanks to the men and women who fight every day at home and abroad to keep us safe. For that, we are eternally grateful. And in Jesus' name we pray, amen. You may be seated. I'd like to say just a few words of appreciation towards our district and our fantastic community we live in. I personally have tried to devote my life to this point to giving back to my community. It is an honor for me to stand before such influential members of the community. For example, Russell Yabera, who has dedicated his life to giving back to his community, creating Camp Hope, an organization that provides support for military members suffering from PTSD and that need just that little extra support coming home. It really inspires me to not only devote my time, but to encourage others to devote their time as well. Even if you just give a small amount of your time, it not only can change someone's mood, but has potential to change someone's life. Thank you.
For any of you who have ever put something like this together, you know it's a labor of love. For this relatively brief ceremony, hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of hours have gone into making it memorable. We hope you think it is. In our case, we started from scratch, and it wasn't always easy, particularly since our priority is educating our children, some of whom will be accepting these awards someday. In times like those, it's always nice to have someone in your corner, serving your needs without hesitation. Would you please join me in welcoming to the stage the person who owned this vision long before we sat down and got to work on this, LaPorte ISD Superintendent of Schools, Mr. Lloyd Graham.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you all for joining us. As I think about the four individuals that we're honoring today, I doubt that there's little of value that I can add to this ceremony. What it says about them, that they are the people our community has chosen to honor, is self-evident. But it's what it says about our community that I'd like to draw our attention to for just a moment. Some decade plus ago, Kathy Green was president of our Board of Trustees when they hired me, and I was privileged to come to LaPorte. And the first time we broke bread, it was in a restaurant where she wanted me to meet Mr. Garcia. He was the person that she wanted to meet first in town, to have fellowship at his table. And he sat and he joined us, and I enjoyed that a great deal. And when we look at Mr. Ibarra and the impact of his family, the impact that he makes on the community, our class president just spoke about that and him continually giving. I can tell you on a first-hand basis that he's had a tremendous impact on at least one individual. I weighed 75 pounds less when I took this job, and I've enjoyed all of his establishments many times, but I thank you so much for your continued service. And we are blessed today to have Karan's sister and brother-in-law with us in his stead. But when our 100th anniversary came about, Karan came home with his sister and his mother, and he joined humbly, walked the track where he ran, saw his coaches, his classmates, and came home to LaPorte. So what does this say about our community? I'm going to use Mr. Washington, with his permission, for just a moment to make that statement. Ladies and gentlemen, we're in a divisive time in our nation once again. It's not the first time we've been there, and it shan't be the last, and it is something we no doubt will overcome. But when we look at bombings, be them real, fake, intended, we don't know. There are those of us of an age that can remember 16th Street in Birmingham and the fear that rises. And the only thing I know for certain about the African-American experience is that no white man is qualified to comment on it. And I don't want it to be lost on us today that Mr. Washington and his wife and his family have allowed us and have graced us with the privilege to hang his likeness in this facility on a campus that the laws of the state would not allow him to attend when he was in high school. So what does this say about our community? Everybody wants to talk about valuing diversity. When we set out, when the board set out, the board's vision, the board wanted this done. It was all come, all in, anyone, nominate anyone you cared for, a good selection process. And I want you to look, when people give lip service to diversity, our community chose diversity as the inaugural class in our honored society here. And I think that speaks volumes about who we are and who we hope our children will be. I'd like to thank each of the recipients today for allowing us to do this, for gracing us with their presence, and I ask God continue to bless us as we move forward in our mission. Thank you all for attending.
Thank you, Mr. Graham. And thank you to our Interact Club under the leadership of Ms. Tiffany Vaughn for helping us with this event today. Thank you also to our elected officials. We have several in attendance today. Bear with me. I've got quite a list. Thank you all for coming out. From the city of LaPorte, we have Mayor Lewis Rigby. Councilman Bill Bentley. Mayor Pro Tem Nancy Ojeda. From the city of LaPorte, we have Corby Alexander, the city manager, and Jason Wells, the assistant city manager. That was sort of crowded. Is there anybody here from Shore Acres, city of Shore Acres? Okay, just wanted to make sure. Our LaPorte ISD Board of Trustees are here today. Trustees Dennis Slate and Trustee Lee Wallace. Board Secretary Lois Rogerson. Trustee Charles C. Wheeler. Board Vice President David Yonda. And our Board President, Ms. Deanne Thompson. As you begin to enjoy this delicious lunch, just know that everything you see before you was, well, from the place setting all the way to the food, was prepared by the hands of our culinary arts students at LaPorte High School under the direction of Chef Roy Ross. Can we give them a quick hand? Enjoy your lunch. If you need anything, the LaPorte Culinary Arts students will be walking around. We'll have coffee afterwards, and let's get busy. Thank you. Hopefully everyone's enjoyed their lunch. If you're still eating, please do. And the chocolate cake with the orange buttercream and the candied oranges, it's really no good, so just drop it off at table number 3 and I'll take it off your hands. Wonderful food, outstanding desserts. If you want coffee, let your server know. They'll take care of you. I'm going to go off script here for just one moment. All of this began, we were talking at our table about how long it takes to put something like this together, and I want to let you know that all of this began more than a year ago. Just like our honorees, our committee is quite the diverse group. They work tirelessly, they work passionately, and if you worked on our committee and you're here today, can I get a quick show of hands so that we can honor you? I'd also like to recognize a handful of people who have had very little sleep, if any, over the past couple of weeks, and I can confirm that at least 2 of us have actually had nightmares. But from this short list of people, I want you to know I take orders from all of them. First, Laura Horacefield. Where are you? There you are. Diana Solis. My boss, Terry Cook. And my other boss, Dr. Linda Wadley, our deputy superintendent. They're the architects of everything you are enjoying today. Now let's present some honors. If you've enjoyed a plate of fajitas or enchiladas here in LaPorte, chances are Jesse Garcia had some sort of connection to it. If you or your children played youth sports here in LaPorte, chances are Jesse Garcia was one of those coaches on the sidelines, as a volunteer, by the way. If you've attended an event hosted or sponsored by the LaPorte Bayshore Chamber of Commerce or enjoyed the fruits of their labor, and we all have, Jesse Garcia had a hand in it. In all of that, his aim was simple. He wanted to make LaPorte a better place to live, a better place to raise children. And he certainly did. Ladies and gentlemen, our inaugural Distinguished Citizen Award goes to Jesse Garcia, accepting in his honor and memory his granddaughter, Reagan Haas.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Reagan Haas, proud granddaughter of Jesse Garcia. Sorry. First, I would like to thank the committee that selected my grandpa to receive this award. It goes to show that his hard work didn't go unnoticed. I would also like to thank Melissa Crutcher for bringing this award to my attention and for thinking of him as a candidate. When she brought this award to my attention, I only had a few days to get everything together. I didn't think I was going to make the deadline. But thanks to my mom and aunt, here we are. When I got the call from Linda Wadley saying that he was picked to receive this award, of course, I cried, of course, but tears of joy knowing that his presence is still here in our community. Jesse was very well known in the community, not just for his delicious food that he served at his restaurant Las Hadas, but also for his generosity and volunteer work here in this community. He was part of many organizations, including the Knights of Columbus at St. Mary's Catholic Church, Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo Association, LaPorte and Pasadena Livestock Show and Rodeo, LaPorte Optimist Club, LaPorte Bayshore Chamber of Commerce, and Hispanic Chamber of Commerce of Baytown, just to name a few. Out of all of these, the Little League organizations and high school extracurricular had to be his favorite. Not only did he sponsor teams, he also coached many teams, including my own softball team. To many of the kids, he was much more than a coach. He was a mentor, teacher, leader, and to some, he was a father figure. He knew kids needed guidance and some needed structure, but he also knew that all kids needed someone to love them, and that's what he gave them. He gave love and hope to the kids who were blessed enough to call him coach. But he didn't stop there. He also sponsored many of LaPorte High School's extracurricular activities, such as LaPorte football team's Walk a Dog Night, the LaPorte Chatos, LaPorte Baseball and Football Booster Clubs, LaPorte FFA and 4-H, and the LaPorte Bulldogs Band. He knew that the kids who were growing up in our community were the future of LaPorte, so he strived to give them a head start at being successful. There were several reasons for his dedication to this community. One, because of his roots, which started with him attending LaPorte High School. Another is that he and his wife raised their family here. He wanted the best for his kids and grandkids, and man, did he give us the best. He strongly believed in giving back, and that was proven in his generosity of sponsoring and donating to so many organizations. If he gave to one, he gave to another. No one was left out. While doing his part to make LaPorte the best he could for his family, he encountered others who also wanted a place to call home, a place to raise a family and be comfortable and active. That drove him to do more. Anyone who dined at Las Hadas knows that my grandpa was not just behind the scenes kind of man. He loved the people of LaPorte and often sat and visited with his patrons. My grandpa had a gift of making everyone he spoke to feel like they were all that mattered at that very moment. He was a man of pride, but remained very, He remained very humble and grounded. This award means so much to the Garcia family and to me, not merely for the recognition, but knowing that his legacy continues to live on in this community that he loves so much. For those of you who didn't know this about my grandpa, he loved to dance. So there's no doubt in my mind he is smiling down on us today in between dancing with the angels. Thank you.
Was beautiful. Thank you. Most of us in this room, in this city, don't know what it's like to own such a gift so rare, yet not be able to share it freely. Gene Washington does. He grew up during a time of racial segregation right here. An excellent student, athlete, citizen. But because of the color of his skin, he had to cross the bridge to Baytown just to attend school. He had to go to Michigan State just to play college football and get a degree. That was our loss, Michigan's gain. Thank God those days are gone. And Gene Washington helped pave the way. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in honoring Gene Washington as a member of the 2018 LaPorte Distinguished Alumni Class. Welcome home, Mr. Washington.
Thank you very much. Honorable Mayor Rigby, Superintendent Graham, Board of Trustees, staff, faculty, students, the selection committee, the citizens of LaPorte, and of course, distinguished honorees. I'm humble and I'm very appreciative of this honor. I accept this recognition on behalf of my mom and my dad and my two sisters who are looking down on us for this luncheon. I also accept this honor on behalf of my brother, John, who could not travel because of his health, and my two sisters. One of them are here with us today. So I'd like to introduce my sister, Essie, and my brother-in-law, Charles Hebert, who lives in Baytown. Will both of you please stand? My other sister, Ipaneta, she and my brother-in-law, Travis, could not join us today, but we were looking forward to having them join us this morning. Our parents were very, very loving and extremely always special to us in our years of growing up here on 5th Street in LaPorte. I'd like to especially thank all of my LaPorte DeWalt Elementary School and my Baytown George Washington Carver High School teachers and coaches for their support, for their counsel, for their encouragement, and for always inspiring me to work hard and to strive for excellence, and especially excellence in education. I am so proud to share that Mayor Rigby, father, gave me my first job when I was in high school, working here in LaPorte in his LaPorte Theater with Mayor Rigby and his sister Karen. Would you please stand? Your father's support and kindness meant so much to me and my family. I love your father, and I know he's also looking down on us this afternoon. This past June 17th, my wife Claudette and I celebrated our 51st wedding anniversary. Claudette, will you please stand? We first met as ninth graders at George Washington Carver High School in Baytown. We have 3 daughters, and Maya, our youngest, is with us this afternoon. Maya, will you please stand? Finally, I am once again very blessed and so thankful for this honor. And this all points back to my special journey that is anchored by Booker T. Washington's famous words. And I quote, "Start where you are with what you have, knowing that what you have is plenty enough." I started from an extremely disadvantaged situation, and I proudly worked my way up. Every day is a gift, and every day is God's blessings. I am so grateful to be here at my home in my wonderful LaPorte community. Thank you very much.
Mr. Washington, if you don't want this, I'll take it. I've always wanted one of these. Many of us here today don't hail from LaPorte. Some of you do. Russell Ybarra does. He walked these very halls answering to the nickname Gibbo. He grew up and became a grown-up in the restaurant industry. Let's be honest. Russell Ybarra could have gone anywhere with his business and marketing savvy. Gringo's could have just as easily been opened and be quite successful as it is had he started it in Dallas or some other mega city. But Russell Ybarra started it right here in his hometown of LaPorte, just as he has several other restaurant concepts. All the while, Russell Ybarra has graciously and quietly shared his resources with countless people in need. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in honoring Russell Ybarra as a member of the 2018 LaPorte Distinguished Alumni Class.
All right, so a lot of things went through my mind as I was sitting in the audience. For one, I just want to add something to Jesse's story. When I was in my 20s trying to find myself before the first Gringos opened, Jesse made a comment to me that had a profound impact on my life. He told me, Russell, one day you're going to make it big. And I never forgot those words. When I was growing up in school, I didn't receive a lot of recognition, no athletic awards or academic awards. So if there's any C students in the audience, there's still hope for you. You know, there's something very, very powerful in giving. And I could not stand here and say that our third core value in our company, reinvesting in our team members and our local community, came from me. It did not. It came from the seeds that were planted so many years ago with my parents. They would do some things as a young kid that I would witness that at the time didn't mean a whole lot to me, but there were still seeds that were planted that were so important. For example, my parents would take clothes and Bibles to Mexico. They would load this van up full of Bibles and clothes and take it to Mexico. They donated land to a church so they could build a new church. They sponsored 10 Vietnamese families in 1975 when they were coming here after the Vietnam War. They sponsored evangelists. I mean, they just did a lot, and I saw this, and again, it made an impact on me. And I really enjoy giving. It's just something that is, like I said, so powerful and so meaningful, because capitalism is about elevating humanity through business, and that's what we try to do. We try to make the world a better place beyond giving your life meaning and purpose beyond just simply making money. Money's important, but it's not everything. And let me just finish with this. Martin Luther King, in 1967, about 7 months before he was assassinated, gave a speech to some junior high students outside Atlanta, Georgia. And it's a lot of people refer to it as the street sweeper speech, but really it's what's your life's blueprint was the name of the speech. And many of you have heard it, but you know, he finishes it by saying, you know, if you can't be a bush, be a shrub. If you can't be the sun, be a star. If you can't be a highway, be a trail. But simply be the best at whatever you are, for it isn't by size that you win or you lose. Thank you very much.
I want to tell you a quick story about our third and final honoree for Distinguished Alumni, inaugural honoree. A couple of years ago, as you all know, Karan Clement won an Olympic gold medal in front of the whole world. He was in high demand. TV shows, ESPN, CNN, all of those, they wanted him. Guest speaker gigs. They could have helped him financially, professionally, getting your face out there, but he turned them all down. It's true. Why? Because he wanted to come home instead, right here. He wanted to come home and celebrate in LaPorte. Perhaps he signed an autograph, took a selfie with some or most of you out there. I actually am the only one in LaPorte that has a picture of Karan and I getting ready to race. He would have lapped me multiple times before I got out of the gate. But earlier, before all of those selfies, before all of those autographs, he made his way all across LaPorte ISD, speaking to our students about how each and every one of them has the ability to succeed. We certainly wouldn't have begrudged him well-deserved fame. In fact, we would have been equally proud telling everyone he's from LaPorte. Instead, hundreds upon hundreds of LaPorte children and adults now have a personal connection with one of the most distinguished people who have represented our country and our city. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in recognizing Karan Clement as a member of the 2018 LaPorte Distinguished Alumni Class. Karan, as much as he wanted to be here, couldn't make it. It's track season, like on the other side of the world, and that's where he is. But he did send us a message.
Hey everyone, I'm so sorry I'm not able to make it out to LaPorte this time around, but my sister will be in attendance to receive the award on my behalf. First and foremost, I'd like to thank God for his many blessings. It's not every day that a kid wakes up and been able to travel the world and to compete in what he loves to do. And I just thank God for that. Secondly, I'd like to thank LaPorte for the unparalleled support. They have been there for me from since day one, and to be able to receive this distinguished award, it's truly an honor, and I'm very humbled to receive it. And I'd like to thank my family for their unparalleled support. They have been there for me from since day one as well. My mom, whether I win or lose, she has been there for me, supporting me. And my sisters, Kizianne and Crystal and Joseph Wilson, thank you so much for being my supporters. Last but not least, I want to thank the guy who made it possible for me to continue to run today. His name is Michael Mosley, because he came to my house at a time where I wanted to quit track. I had pain in my knee and it was very unbearable, and he's the one that came to my house and said, this kid has potential to make it to the Olympics. And at that time I didn't know what he was talking about. I just wanted to stop athletics because the pain was just too much for me, and he came and convinced my mom that this kid has so much talent and he needs to continue to run. And thank Coach Mosley for believing in me when I didn't believe in myself at that time. And also Coach Velasic for just being there as well, for being my hurdle coach. Thank you so much for nominating me for the Distinguished Alumni Award. I'm just truly, it's an honor. I'm blessed, and I'll be forever thankful.
Helps if you turn it on. Here to accept the honor on behalf of Karan Clement, his sister, Kizzy Francis.
On behalf of Karan and the Clement family, we would like to thank everyone that had something to do with putting this together and the honor that you guys bestowed upon him. Thank you.
Coach Mosley, everyone, you heard Coach Mosley's name mentioned in Karan's message. Would you please stand so that everybody can see that you're here? Thank you. On your program, our next segment is titled Special Remarks, but it's a lot more than that. Miss Martha Love was a LaPorte teacher and principal for decades, and when she stopped receiving a paycheck upon retirement, Mrs. Love came back anyway and worked for free. It's been said that her name says it all, love. I'd like to add that Martha Love is LaPorte ISD. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Martha Love.
I've lost my sight, so I have to have help from Terry. And I may slow down and may not get something said, but I do appreciate being here today. When I first came to LaPorte, the first words out of my mouth to my husband were, "I am not living in LaPorte, Texas, ever." This is my 55th year here, so I've been here a long time. I thoroughly enjoyed it. But the people were what made the difference. And it was the kids. And I knew that I was home when I walked into that first grade class. Now, we had some ups and downs, but they were great kids, and I loved them. And I loved every year that I worked for the district. I met some awfully impressive parents, some awfully impressive kids, and I'm very, very proud of the students that LaPorte graduated and set out into the world. One day I walked into Kroger and a lady came up to me and said, "Do you mind if I ask you a very personal question?" And I said, "No, I don't think so." She said, "Who are all the gray-haired men who come in and hug you?" And I said, "I taught them all in first grade. And if I taught you, you have gray hair." It was a long time ago. The school district was so small that the whole school district personnel could fit in the LaPorte Elementary cafeteria. And it was just unbelievable. And before long, you knew everyone in town. You knew everyone in every school. You began to know children that you had taught in one school when they graduated into another school. It was wonderful. And what had happened was that a town that was just building up had turned into home. And it has been a great place to live. And in spite of the fact that I explained to Bill Love that I was not living here, this is my 55th year in LaPorte. I am so pleased that people are being recognized today that did things long ago for the district and some that have done them recently. It's important that a school district and a town remember the people that helped it grow. And I think that that is something that LaPorte has tried very hard to do. I was here, I heard about Gene Washington, but I never had the opportunity to meet him. He was going to school in Baytown. And everyone in town was so excited about Quran. And they cheered him on, and they were so proud of him. It gave LaPorte something to be very, very proud of. Jesse Garcia was a wonderful friend of mine. I thoroughly enjoyed all the years that I knew him. My kids at Bayshore believed that when he came, they had come to see them, not the other children in the building, just them. And the halls would be filled with children running to hug him and welcome him, and he enjoyed coming. And he offered us so much help, and I could not have made it as well as we did without his help. Long ago, my husband, Bill Love, was a friend of Bill Shipp's. And Bill Shipp and Bill Love would get in the car and would go down to the restaurant, to El Toro. And we were not invited. Jane and I stayed at home because that was their night out. And so we didn't get to go. And it was so wonderful when finally they allowed us to go to El Toro and eat supper with them. We thought that was an honor beyond belief because we'd waited so long to go. But it was a wonderful place for us to get together, wonderful place for us to get to meet other people and see and talk to them. Through the years, I have been able to count on Russell E. Bear for anything. And God bless him, he's helped us when we have needed help here and there through the district. And it has been wonderful working with him. What? One of the things that impressed me so about LaPorte when I came here was that the whole city, pardon me, the whole city had a commitment to the young people of town, and they tried to do anything and everything they could do to help those children succeed and help them get ahead. And I think they did a great job. We've had some very impressive people come through the LaPorte schools, graduate, and go out into the world. And I'm very, very proud to have been a part of the school district that carried that through. You know that the school district has done a good job when the individuals that we're honoring today did such an impressive job. I'm proud of them. You should be proud of them. The whole city of LaPorte should be proud of them. They have made LaPorte a far better place for all of us to live. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Love. That was wonderful. That pretty much wraps it up. Thank you again to everyone, anyone who had anything to do with this event, and a special thank you to our honorees, all of you, and their families, for all that you've done and continue to do for LaPorte. The plaques that you have seen today in the back, they will very soon be just beyond that wall back there in our Hall of Honor. We'll let you know when those make it up. And also, a little business to take care of. The call for 2019 Distinguished Alumni and Citizen Nominees is just around the corner. Stay tuned for information on that. See you tonight at our football game, where our distinguished alumni and citizen will be recognized in front of a homecoming crowd. Go Bulldogs. Thank you, everybody.